Hey everybody, today we're going to continue talking about samples and surveys. Today we're going to talk about whether or not these samples and surveys are biased. Okay? In order for something to be biased, it's going to contain an assumption that may or may not be true. Okay? It's going to influence someone's opinion in order for them to answer something one way or another. Okay, so our first example here, a movie reporter wants to find out what kind of movies are most popular with local residents. The reporter asks, do you prefer exciting action movies or boring documentaries? Is the question biased? And explain your answer. Well, yes, this is going to be biased, okay, because when somebody words it as exciting and boring, they're trying to sway you, obviously, towards picking an action movie. Okay, so yes, it's biased because of the words exciting and boring. So this may be an example of where even though you might like a documentary, okay, you are not going to be willing to actually pick that option because they're trying to sway you towards actually picking action movies. Okay, you can actually ask an unbiased question. That last example was a biased question, okay, but you can actually ask an unbiased question but still get a biased result, okay? So if we look at this example here, you want to determine what % of teens ages 14 to 18 watch wrestling on TV. Okay, so you conduct your survey at a high school wrestling match and you ask every third teenager whether he or she watches wrestling on TV. Okay, this is obviously not a biased question. You're just simply asking people whether they like to watch wrestling on TV. Okay, but this is going to cause a bias in your answer because you're asking people at a wrestling match whether they like wrestling. Okay, so you ask at a wrestling match if they like wrestling. And obviously you're probably going to get more people to say yes at an actual wrestling match than if you were to just ask every third teenager walking down the hall at the high school. Okay, since global warming is a big problem, do you support government funding of studies on global warming? Okay, is this question biased? Well, yes, this is going to be biased because you're telling people that it's a big problem and then you're asking them if they support fixing the problem. Okay, it would have been a better question if you just said, do you support government funding of studies on global warming and left out that first part. So yes, because you're telling the people that it's bad. Okay, where would you most like to go on vacation? There's no bias in that one. They're just simply asking where you would like to go on vacation. So no, it is not biased. No favoritism towards a specific spot. Okay, and do you prefer shopping online or the excitement of going to stores with your friends? Okay. Well, this would have been an okay question if they would have left off that word excitement. Okay, so do you prefer shopping online or going to the stores with friends? Okay, but because they put in that excitement word, this is biased because of that word excitement. They're trying to sway you towards going to the stores with your friends. Okay, and then finally, you'll have something like this, where a travel agent wants to determine whether a trip to France is a popular vacation for young adults. Okay, so think about what they're actually doing here. They're asking whether a trip to France, okay, so a specific location is popular for young adults. How could each factor described below create a bias in the survey? So they're saying that these three are biased. They want to know how it's actually going to create a bias. Okay, so the agent interviews people at an international airport. Okay, well, this could be biased for a couple different reasons. These people at the airport could already be going to France, so obviously they like it. Okay, or these people at the airport might not necessarily be the young adults that they're looking for. Okay, so two different reasons that one could be biased. Okay, the next one, all right, the agent asks, would you prefer to vacation in France or Italy? Okay, well, this question doesn't seem very biased, but if you think about what it's asking you to pick between France or Italy. Okay, well, what if your favorite vacation spot might be to go to Alaska? Okay, then you aren't given that option in that question. So this one would be biased because they ask you to pick France or Italy. Okay, and then of the people interviewed, 86% took a French class in high school. Okay, this one would be biased because obviously people that take French in high school have some interest towards French, so they're probably going to enjoy a trip to France. Okay, so if they take French, they have an interest in France. Okay, not 100% of the time, but most of the time they will probably have an interest in France. All right, and that is examples of biased and unbiased surveys. Okay, for tomorrow, create an example of a biased survey question for me, please. We'll see you tomorrow.